Hey fam, I want to introduce you to Africatown in Mobile, Alabama. This is the town where Cudjoe Lewis and other Africans were kidnapped from Africa and brought over, smuggled in illegally because the international slave trade was illegal. This is in 1865, years before slavery ended. And Timothy Mayer, a plantation slave owner, made a bet that he could do it. He could actually smuggle some Africans in. And he succeeded. And he brought them in, and the name of the ship was the Clotilda. This is a picture of Cudjoe Kazula Lewis, and he was one of the 110 enslaved Africans aboard the Clotilda. The next picture shows the women of the Clotilda. Often history focuses on the men, but these were the women who were brought over. And the men and the women and the children, there were babies that were brought over. They developed this Africatown community. Once Cudjoe and the other Africans learned that they were enslaved past 1865 when it was illegal, Cudjoe here, he went to, and this is based on this book right here, his interview with Zora Neale Hurston. He went to Timothy Mayer and said, you've been having us work for free. And that's not who we are. We weren't slaves in our home country, so you need to send us back home. And Timothy Mayer said no. And he was like, well, you brought us here against our will, so at least give us some land so we can move forward with our lives. And he said no to that. He said you could buy land. So they had to work and save money. And then they bought land. And of course, Timothy Mayer gave him the worst plots of land. And so they started from scratch. And this is Mr. Womack. He gave us our tour. He's like president of the Africatown community or something, center. And so, Cudjoe and others built their homes from the ground up with wood. And those homes are still there in the community. They still live in those communities. The homes are dilapidated. The community has been neglected for years. Oh, and this is a disgusting marker, a monument to the Mayer slaveholding family. And all throughout Africatown, when you walk through Africatown, you just see these constant reminders of slavery and this man and this family owning your people, your ancestors. It's just disgusting. But yeah, so these are pictures of these dilapidated houses. They just got street lights, like I want to say 2021. Like, it's so neglected. And so a lot of people are like, why don't they just leave? And they don't have the resources. There's one school in the community. That school has absolutely no resources. And they don't want to leave too because this is their family's home. They own this land. This particular part of this part of Mobile, Alabama called Plateau. This particular area is called Africatown, and they own that land. That's the land Cudjoe and others bought from Timothy Mayer. But the surrounding land, which is why you see the markers in the community, the surrounding land is still owned by the Mayer family. And this is where it gets even more disgusting. And so, they never let the Clotilda Africans off of their Africatown land. Mayer family continued to own it to this day. And what they ended up doing was leasing that land out to different industries. So we saw like Kimberly Clark. I don't know if you ever see like on Kleenex tissues, you'll see Kimberly Clark. So like paper mill, oil, sewage, all of these industries that we see throughout the country in Black communities. They're right there surrounding Africatown. So Africatown's very small. And then the surrounding land is owned by the Mayer family, and they have leased it out to these communities. Here's another one of those markers. If you kind of like look towards the back, you'll see a monument there. This says Mayer, and that's kind of letting you know, like, you're no longer on Africatown property. This is the Mayer property. So then, literally surrounding Africatown, you'll see these industries. Like I said, paper, oil, sewage, and others. And then you walk across the street, there's the Clotilda. Somebody drew a mural, painted a mural. There's the church that they founded. This is a Union Baptist Church, and this is the list of all the people who founded it. There I am with Mr. Womack, and then now they took us to the Africatown graveyard. And you'll see folks that were born 1870, 1887. They were brought over in 1860. And so these were the descendants. So this is a layout of Africatown. And you'll see like in the middle, the central district of it. But this is Africatown, the small slice of land. It looks big on this picture, but it's really small. And what's surrounding it. Okay, so you see the Mobile River, Chickasaw Creek, lots of waterways. And so industries that need to have ships come in and drop off whatever, they're all doing this at Africatown. You see Africatown Historic District is in there. So waterways make it easier for, trading and shipping all of these products from the industries. You'll also see on the legend coming up all the industries and where they're located. And so, wait, I don't think it's this one. It's actually... Okay, so this is the actual picture I was looking for. This is Africatown and all of the industries in there. You can't really see because it's a small picture, but tons of industry. And people, human beings, live on this land next to these industries. And we all know with industries, there's nothing but pollution going into the air. And so here's Ramsey. He is a brilliant scientist who breaks down the environmental and healthcare impacts of these industries that the Mayer family has leased this land to and has killed so many descendants of the Clotilda. This is what water looks like. Meet Darren Patterson. He is one of the descendants of the Clotilda Africans. That's one of Timothy Mayer's houses, and this is the scene of the crime. So when he brought the ship back, and smuggled African bodies into Alabama, he sailed down to his house and and he dynamited it. And so it is there today under the water. The journalist who discovered the Clotilda wanted it to be restored, but scientists got involved and they said they wanted to keep it down there. So, at least in 2023, when I was down there, That's what things may have changed. I have not been keeping up. But back then, it was still under the water. It was illegal for me to take these pictures. They just like made us sign things, and we could not take these pictures. But I was not going to the scene of the crime and not taking pictures. So the ship is right there. And for hundreds of years, people gaslighted these African people saying they made it up, that Timothy Meyer did not do that, and they were lying. And it was right there the whole time. So that's me with Darren Patterson. Again, he's one of the descendants. And then this is the Smithsonian Museum of African American History and Culture. It was a screening of Descendant, the Netflix documentary. My cousin Kern is in the middle next to Questlove. Questlove discovered that he is a descendant of the Clotilda Africans, one of the Clotilda Africans. To the left is the director. To the right, that is Joycelyn. I'll tell you about them. This is my Aunt Teresa, my Uncle Ed, Kern, and my cousin Courtney. And yeah, we're just standing there. Me and my cousin Kern and Courtney. Kern is the professor who did the research for this documentary. Me and Kern, he is a professor at University of Alabama, Mobile. These are descendants. Vita, Joycelyn. It's going so fast. That is Mr. Womack. This is the director of the Descendant documentary. There's Ramsey, the scientist. And this is Black History Month at Bullis. And I brought my cousin Kern, and we had a screening. And then the students posed questions. We asked the students to provide questions, and these were the panelists that asked the questions. That's me, my cousin Courtney, and Kern, and that's the end.